Feral as Mirian, you are wild at heart and wild of mind.
Welcome to my first Path of Exile 2 video, showcasing what I'm calling the Bringer of Gains Amazon. A rage stacking, slam spamming, steroid infused huntress. We use ancestral strength through our attacks, charge through maps in a raging stampede, and finish bosses with a gigantic Hammer of the Gods crit. This build comes online pretty early at level 52 when you can equip the Bringer of Rain, and it scales extremely well into endgame mapping. So let's talk about how it works. The entire build starts with the Bringer of Rain. This unique helmet does two very important things. First, it gives us a massive amount of defensive stats, and second, it allows us to dual wield two-handed maces. The downside is that we can't wear body armor, which sounds pretty scary at first, but to compensate for that, we take the Amazon Ascendancy passive, Stalking Panther. Since we're missing a chest piece entirely, Stalking Panther greatly amplifies the evasion on the rest of our gear, helping us recover a large portion of what was lost.
Builds like you don't belong in the skies.
The result is a character that ends up being surprisingly durable, despite running around with essentially no shirt on. The next major piece of this build is Rage. We use Eternal Rage to permanently maintain 30 Rage at all times. That gives us a nice damage boost on its own, but more importantly, it allows us to take advantage of several support gems that spend Rage as a resource for even more damage. Since our Rage is constantly being replenished, these supports become extremely efficient sources of power. And to help sustain all this damage, we're stacking plus levels to melee skills on multiple gear slots. This significantly increases the base damage of our abilities, but also causes mana cost to become pretty expensive. To solve that problem, we use Asmiri Brew. This Amazon passive causes our life flask to recover mana, and our mana flask to also recover life. Then we pair it with Lavyanga? This thing, which is constantly active and provides passive recovery for both resources. It's a surprisingly elegant solution that keeps the build comfortable even with heavily scaled skill levels. For mapping, the star of the show is Stampede. Not only is it incredibly effective, but it fits perfectly with the wild, primal identity of the build. One of the biggest issues with Stampede is that it can sometimes get stuck, causing awkward interruptions while clearing. To fix that, I use Stomping Ground. This support allows Stampede to continue charging through packs, while each individual step deals massive damage. Instead of stopping every few monsters, you simply plow through the entire screen. To further improve clear speed, I run an armor explosion setup supported by Armor Break. Enemies have their armor shattered and then explode, creating chain reactions throughout packs. Because we're stacking so many levels on our melee skills, mana cost can get pretty out of control, so I also use efficiency on my primary skills to keep everything manageable. The end result is a mapper that feels different, fast, aggressive, and extremely satisfying. Bossing is where things get really fun. Our main damage skill is Hammer of the Gods, and since we're Amazon, I've leaned heavily into the ancestral boosting side of things, but we can also get easy access to Critical Strike. I support Hammer of the Gods with Fist of War to ancestrally empower the attack and massively increase its damage, and then I add Rage Forged, which spends Rage for even more power. Because this build scales critically strikes through accuracy, we also stack multiple sources of critical strike chance. Exile provides a large boost, and then we use Prototype 17, which converts rage into even more critical strike chance. There's a cool little interaction here going on with Hammer the Gods and Prototype 17, where when we use Hammer the Gods, it eats Rage Forged. It spends a little bit of rage to increase the power of the incoming Hammer the Gods. But by the time the Hammer the Gods lands, we're back up to full rage, letting Prototype 17 convert all of that rage, a full rage bar, into critical strike chance. And you'll see it being used when your rage bar all of a sudden goes to 0. That means your Prototype 17 has converted all the rage into critical strike chance, and your rage has then been consumed. And thanks to the Amazon's natural access to accuracy scaling, all these bonuses combine into some very large critical hits that are also very reliable. Before dropping the hammer, we prepare the boss with Rolling Slam or auto attacks. Rolling Slam breaks armor and frequently stuns enemies. Once the boss is stunned, we use Seismic Cry and Infernal Cry to amplify the next 2 hits. We do this by using a secondary weapon skill set on the passive tree to boost our war cries and boosted attacks or empowered attacks. Seismic Cry will create an aftershock, and Infernal Cry will grant some bonus fire damage on top of our Hammer the Gods. Then we drop a fully loaded Hammer the Gods directly onto the boss's head. The result is pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a character dual wielding 2 giant hammers. Things tend to explode in a bloody mess. Overall, this build has been a blast to play. It's durable, it maps quickly, it has satisfying boss damage, and perhaps most importantly, it's got drip. If you're looking for something a little different than the normal Huntress using spear or bow, and you like the idea of charging through maps before deleting bosses with giant ancestral hammer slams, I definitely recommend giving this one a try. If you have any questions about the gearing, gem setups, or progression, let me know in the comments. I'll also put a link to the POB or Poe.ninja in the description. Also, I should note, I'm kind of a new player. I've only got like a few hundred hours in the game, and this is my first character actually running like full endgame of PoE2. But I look forward to playing more. I mean, this game is insanely good, but also kind of overwhelming. So this video is almost more of like an archive for myself, seeing this character or like my first, fully fledged PoE character that I can look back to. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. No shit. Wait a second. Holy shit. No fucking way. Oh, deferring that. Fucking god, no way.